Welcome back once again. This is gonna be game 4 between Nerchio and WhiteRa. Good luck, have fun, mainers all around. So these two players, very good. I'm sure they faced each other many times before. I know that they had one really good series. What was it? I think it was, maybe it was IPL 2. I can't really remember, but they had one really epic best of 7 series. So these guys have played each other before, and they know what's going on. So this is going to be game 4 between WhiteRa and Nerchio. This was a show match for Play Him. And well, if you guys have seen the first 3 games, a few consistent things that I saw. And of course it's easy for me to say these kind of things when I'm watching from the outside. I'm not trying to play, I'm not trying to keep up 200 APM or anything like that while I'm playing. But Nerchio upgrades were lacking in almost every game. He rarely, if ever, even got any upgrades for his attack. He didn't get burrow, he didn't get, you know, there's a lot of missing upgrades that I feel like that could have really helped Nerchio out a lot. And he was floating gas a bunch of times, wasn't using them. And in the last game, it seemed like he didn't really seem to know what he's doing. I mean, like, it seemed like he wanted to go for a Ling Muta build. Then he saw that this attack was coming his way, and he was like, oh crap, I need to do Roach Ling to deal with this. But it was like too little too late, and he didn't have any queens to defend in the right position, and the map didn't really seem to help him very much either. The Cloud Kingdom map, but well, it's a new map now. This one's from the ladder pool. Everybody should know what it is. And Forge Fast Expand, of course, a very popular build for this map. Nerchio looks like he's probably gonna do this little blocking trick where you build an Evo chamber. So that's pretty interesting. It's gonna block the expansion for WhiteRa, which is probably gonna cause him to throw down a gateway. Photon cannon coming down. And of course, WhiteRa also blocking the expansion from Nerchio. Now Nerchio did have a pool down, so this pylon shouldn't stay alive for very long. But what will we see out of these two players? I'm really curious to see what Nerchio does, actually. Because he's been going with a couple different builds now, and nothing's really worked against WhiteRa. I'd like to see him maybe change it up a little bit. This is going to be game 4, and WhiteRa already won the first 3 games, so I think he would have won the best of 5. It was best of 5, but this was the 5th game, so I'm not really sure if they just decided to keep playing, or you know what the deal was there, but this is going to be pretty interesting to see what happens. So finally, Nexus and Hatchery coming down. Nerchio, he's at 20 supply. He's going to keep making drones. It'll be interesting to see what he does with this particular wave of units, and yeah, they're all going to be drones, so he's not going to be doing any crazy one-base attacks. And WhiteRa probably also going to be macroing up here. So we should have a pretty standard macro game on our hands. Now, all that blocking and stuff that these guys are doing at the beginning, it's something that you can really practice doing, and it can really help you. One thing that I like to do against Protoss is if I see that they don't Forge Fast Expand, I'll sometimes try and block their Cybernetics Core, because they'll put them like right next to each other, and you can just kind of hold position your drone. And sometimes if you're not, you know, if they're like a platinum player or something, they're not going to be expecting that. So you can actually block the Cybernetics Core, and that can really, really help you. WhiteRa throwing down Stargate, looks like. I'm wondering if he's going to throw down 1 or 2. Yeah, there's the second Stargate. So WhiteRa going for an air build. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Now, this is telling, and it's unfortunate how telling it is, because if you could scout this and you would know that it was air weapons level 1 and not warp gate, that would be huge. It would immediately tell you what the Protoss player is doing without having to scout this, that they're going for air weapons. But if you were to look at this, you would just assume that Warp Gate was coming down. So that's a pretty big, like, it's just part of the game design, the way that it's designed. But WhiteRa, oh wow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a fleet beacon. So we'll be seeing some, well, it looks like some carriers out of WhiteRa. But, I mean, it's so telling. There's ways you can scout these things out, and it looks like, I mean, Nerchio doesn't know what's coming his way. That Evo chamber is kind of late, so I'd assume that he's just getting it for upgrades or whatever, not for... He's not going to be throwing down spore calls all over the place, because he really doesn't know what's happening. Now, it's 8 minutes into the game, and this is still going, so that might have tipped Nerchio off to the fact that there are air units coming his way, and the fact that this is still not a warp gate might have tipped him off to it. But it doesn't seem like he's reacting at all. Zergling speed now coming on the way, and now a spore crawler finally coming down somewhere, but you know, this is pretty standard at 9 minutes, 8.5 minutes of the game. Anything could be coming your way. DTs, you don't know. So Nerchio not playing as defensively as he should be right now, considering that there's 2 carriers coming for him. Alright, so we do have the layer coming down. We've got a Roach Warren coming down. And this is kind of a Stefano-ish build where he gets onto 3 bases, throws down a layer, and gets the Roach Warren at the same time he finishes his layer so that he can get the upgrades for his roaches. And he can have a very powerful Glial Reconstitution Burrow +1 attack with roaches. But it's not timed quite as well as Stefano's build, and oh boy. My heart aches for Nerchio right now because he doesn't know. Well, now it looks like he knows what's happening. He's throwing down some more spore crawlers. He's got to be thinking to himself, well, I didn't see any kind of 6-gate push happening. This gateway is still not a warp gate. Perhaps that's what finally tipped him off to it. But this could be pretty bad for Nerchio. So it looks like it's going to be a build order loss for Nerchio. I mean, that's my prediction at this point. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't think I've seen this particular game before. But it's not something you see every day. A build order loss where your opponent gets carriers. Now a bunch of queens coming in to try and take out one of these carriers, and it doesn't look like it's gonna quite be enough. 2 queens gonna almost 2 queens gonna go down. Transfuse? Any transfuse? No transfusion. And queens going down. 4 crawlers are gonna go down, and now there's 2 more carriers that should be on their way. Nerchio is just scrambling to deal with this, and there's a spire going down too, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. Anytime that these carriers get in range, you can just back them away. Get in range of these spore crawlers, you can just back them away. So they essentially become like siege units in that they are really good against. I mean, they're really good against spore crawlers. Like the spore crawlers are attacking the interceptors here. So. Well, it's kind of an anticlimactic, I'd say. This is kind of an anticlimactic 4th game here because, like I said, it's a build order loss, basically. Nerchio didn't scout it. He could have kind of maybe saw it coming, but, like I said, he probably just assumed that the Cybernetics was getting warped here and not +1 air weapons. And now it's like, what does Nerchio really do? The Spire's going to be going down. He's got 8 Corruptors now coming on the way. So that's going to be his attempt to try and deal with this. But 4 of them are going to be popping right underneath the carriers. And the other 4 of them are going to be popping, well, all over the place. So they're not going to be spawning in a very good spot. And yeah, they're just going to be taken out right away. The Spire's going to go down. And that's going to be pretty much it. I would almost say a better response to this would be to just give a bunch of queens. But then, of course, you have to micro them, you have to use transfusions, it just gets messy. Alright, here we go. Nerchio's last attempt to try and hold off this attack. A bunch of corruptors trying to hit this carrier. Will it be enough? WhiteRa is doing a ton of damage. And it doesn't look like it's going to quite be enough. 2 carriers are going to get taken out, but more reinforcements reinforcements coming in, and there's a good game from Nerchio. So, wow. That was interesting. And that's the patented WhiteRa carrier rush. If you've never seen it before, it's pretty effective. And if you're one of those players who likes to scout, you gotta look at what's happening here to see if it's gonna be coming your way. And like I said, it's an unfortunate part of this game that the cybernetics core is also the place where you research your air weapons, because that would have tipped him off right away. But anyway, good game from WhiteRa. So he's gonna handily take these games against a really good Zerg player. WhiteRa is kind of like the anti-Zerg at this point. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed watching as much as I enjoyed casting, and come back for more soon.